Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fit Beyond 40 YouTube's channel. We're on the tube.
On the tube.
We're on the tube. And I'm your host, Coach Crystal, with my stunning co-host, Coach Janae.
Hi.
Hi. And before we popped on, so for those of you that are brand new to this channel, both Coach Janae and I are not only certified fitness and health coaches, but we're also professional fitness competitors. And Coach Janae has a show like in 3 weeks. Is it in 3 weeks already?
Four.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you are new to the fitness competition world, we actually did a series called Road to Pro, and it's on the playlist here on the channel. And you can listen to all the things because we talk about why we compete, what the different categories in competing. And before we popped on live here, Coach Janae was showing me her wings that's right behind her because she's in a category with UFE, the division that we compete in, called Glamour. And you can kind of think of Glamour as like Victoria's Secret kind of like model runway, kind of has the WBFF feel, like fitness model. And her new costume, a part of it are those gorgeous wings in the back, and I'm like, ooh, let's play, let's work on your posing routine, because like how
that's motivation too. Like I always keep like my costume or something that I'm getting ready like for the show in like everyday present moment. I see it all the time, right? So I can the reminder to stay on track what I'm doing.
I love that. Actually, we should do a whole kind of show on like how to stay motivated, right?
Yeah.
So today our topic, we were talking about it before coming on live, is what we wish we knew when we first started our fitness journey. So, and I'm pretty sure all of our listeners can relate to this, and we're going to be repurposing this and showing this in our closed Facebook group, Fit Beyond 40 for Women. So all the ladies that are going to watch the replay there, we would love to hear from you in the comment box when you watch the replay. If this resonates with you, then I want you to put "that's me" in the comment box. So you kick it off, Coach Janae. What's the one thing that you wish you knew first when you started your fitness journey?
Well, I mean, there's probably several things, of course, but let's start it off with, and I think it's almost like a double whammy. So I was that girl that like did everything. I had to do everything. I felt like I needed to be in constant movement. Maybe even constant pain, right? Because you're doing all the things.
No pain, no gain.
Right? That is wrong, guys.
The 90s.
we have surpassed that. Okay. So, so I'm just like doing all of the things, making my life overly complicated, adding more stress, and honestly, adding more excuses to not do some of the things that I should be doing, right? Because I was so overwhelmed and because my life was filled with so much chaos. So what I wish I kind of knew and understood a little bit more about, the fitness and nutrition kind of component, because like both of them are kind of smushed together for me at that point, because I had subscribed to all of the different kind of diet plans. I had bought all the discounted books, like the abs diet, the blood type diet, the this diet, the that diet, right? So overloading with so much stuff. And of course, if you're reading them all, like they almost, like they contradict each other, right? And there's like, well, this diet says I shouldn't eat this, but this one says I should eat this. And then and then you're what ends up happening is you're like picking and pulling the convenient things from each of those and then doing them. And that's not successful, successful at all, right? Which is why I found myself after years of doing that, still in the exact same position, only probably 20 pounds heavier. Right. So that wasn't helping me at all. And because I was jumping ship so quickly between all of these things, whether it was fitness related or nutrition related, not giving anything a good, fair attempt or try. I would just like, try something for a couple of weeks and then, bail because something else, was more popular, or, just tack it on if it was fitness, right? Oh, then I'm going to join a hot yoga studio as well because somebody said that was a great idea. You sweat a lot. So my misconception of sweat equals fat loss, right? That's the other thing that I wish I understood a little bit better, right? Because I was so focused on sweating so much to feel like I got something done. Like if I wasn't, like limping out of the studio covered in sweat, I didn't have a good enough workout. I didn't do a good job. And then, like then comes the like the self beating up of like, you didn't work hard enough, right? You didn't earn this workout. It wasn't good enough, right? So I wish I understood a little bit more, although it seems funny and ridiculous to say it out loud now. Back then, that was just part of what the vibe was, right? That was the culture out there, was, you have to do like 2 hours of HIIT training.
Yes.
And, you like think of CrossFit, right? When CrossFit was in its boom, and I'm sure it has its place for some people and they love it, but it was like you had to come out with like bloody knuckles and sweat, and I was like, I know better now, right?
Yeah.
Like I understand some of the science behind all that now and how much more beneficial it is to focus on the one thing, right? Like
Yes.
having that one plan that is personalized to you, and then sticking it through and being consistent, giving it the proper amount of time and understanding that, what, the results and the body that I want to have at the end of this isn't going to come after 2 weeks. It isn't even going to come after a month. The changes that I want to make, let's be realistic about it, and then setting a plan to that, right? So now I know obviously so much more, but I really wish, because I could have avoided 800 different memberships,
Yeah.
all those printed out diets that were like I never even tried, never even started, right? So I could have avoided all of that and just had a simpler go at it, right? And when you leave it in the hands of a professional to give you a personalized plan, I have to tell you, you just feel a lot more confident walking in on day one, right? Because I'll tell you, I wasn't super confident about any of those plans or programs, so I probably didn't even give it my all, even when I did try it, right?
100%.
So yeah.
And it's interesting because, um, you know, especially us women over 40, you're 46 years young. I'm going to be joining you in a few months, currently
Mm-hmm.
45. And, when you point out the one thing, that one thing now as women over 40 is we need to put on muscle. We need to strength train. And, sorry ladies, but flinging around those 5 pound dumbbells like is not going to do it.
No.
Um, and so, that one thing, and like you said, having a coach, especially if you're really focusing on, wanting to reduce body fat and put on muscle, where it has to do with body composition, there has to be some type of progression.
Yeah.
Like all of those things that you're doing, progression's not necessarily, written in the classes, in the gym, class
Yeah.
environment. It's just like grab a couple of fives, grab a bar, and there's just like, okay, we're gonna work out legs, and then we're gonna work out this, but it, like you said, it's not personalized. So to actually attain muscle growth is virtually impossible in like a fitness class environment.
Yeah.
And now here's the thing: if it's your jam and you like being in that environment, cool, but you can't expect to put on a good amount of muscle in like those fitness classes, right?
Mm.
So it when I think back, because we were, of course, like that. And back in the day, it was Tybo, it was P90X. And I
Right.
remember learning about Tony Horton's muscle confusion. And now that I think about it, oh my gosh, it is so off to what I was
Right.
wanting to achieve. But for me personally, one thing I wish I knew back then, um, was you cannot out-train a bad diet.
Yeah.
And I will admit, I am a recovering emotional eater. I
Mhm.
definitely used food for comfort. Um, my story, I was a health professional. I was a certified personal trainer and fitness manager. We're talking early 2000s, and at that time I was a newlywed as well, and we were trying to get pregnant. I had a son outside of my marriage, and so when I married to my now husband, my son was 7, and so we were trying to have a kid of our own. And I mean, I thought I was healthy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I already had a kid. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a health professional. Like, why am I not getting pregnant? And we, did the fertility route as well. And at that age, we were 29 when we got married. All our friends were getting married, getting pregnant like that.
Yeah.
Everyone was just like, it was so easy for everybody. We were already trying for 3 years. Even my neighbor, we live in a semi-detached, our age, we're like, oh my gosh, you guys are trying to get pregnant. Oh, so are we. And I remember talking to, my neighbor and saying, oh, we'll have babies at the same time, and they'll be besties and we'll raise them together. And like, God bless her, but my neighbor was able to pop out 2 kids and I still was not
Yeah.
pregnant.
Yeah.
And so that's where I turned to food, because I just thought of the unfairness of it all and the pressure from our families. We're a Filipino background, and they're like, I mean, I know a lot of families probably are similar, but they're blunt, right? They're like,
Yeah.
aren't you guys pregnant? Oh, maybe you're working out too much. Like, and it was harsh. It was harsh. And because of that, I ate my face off. I really did. And then what I would do is like 3 hours of like back to back, P90X DVDs, and then I would throw on the Tybo. I think I still had a VCR back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I would just do back to back cardio
Yeah.
because I ate so bad. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And then I think I would also sprinkle in there under eating,
Yeah.
because I would choose to, I didn't know at the time, practice OMAD, just
Yeah.
one meal a day. And so I think that, and I'm sure there's a lot of ladies who have experienced that kind of um, pattern, and then it carries through to now in your 40s and 50s. You're like eating like a bird and you're wondering why isn't the scale moving? In fact, it's actually going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Right? So from the overwhelm of all the things via the the internet to
Yeah.
social, to everything out there, it's confusing. Number one, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And then also leaning onto something that maybe you thought worked in the past and bringing it decades later and trying to practice that now and wondering, like, why isn't it working? I think a lot of women in their 40s and beyond are stuck,
Yeah.
and that's what is keeping them stuck. And so, one of the things that we do in our Fit Beyond 40 weight loss coaching program, both Coach Janae and I, is we educate our women on, are there those bad habits that you're hanging on to for dear
Mhm.
life, and we have to highlight them, because you might not even be aware of it. And I'm sure, like, you and I, we hear all the time, oh, but I eat healthy.
Yeah. Or I really don't eat a lot.
I
I
really,
eat almost nothing. And like I had to walk someone through an example of what their eating nothing actually looked like, right? So they would starve themselves all day and they would have that one McDonald's meal. Honestly, just one meal. And I admit that is not a lot of food. That is not enough. But because it is mixed up of all the wrong type of ingredients in terms of this high caloric, very high fat kind of meal, let's say in the example that I use, it was 1,500 calories for that one meal,
one meal.
right?
Mhm.
one meal. Meanwhile, you could take like a much healthier approach, split it into 3 meals, and actually still have 12, it could still work out to 1,200 calories. So you have room for 2, 3 additional snacks throughout the day,
Mhm.
meaning you're not hurting and starving yourself all day long, right? And
Mhm.
your meals are hitting appropriate times. And of course, that McDonald's meal, that's going through you like that.
Oh,
You are
100%.
going
You're
to be
hungry like
starving.
5 minutes later. You're
Oh, totally.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like the salt and you're bloated and you're retaining water now. And it's a
But
disaster
man,
all
does
day.
it taste so good in the moment.
Right? And you know what? I always say there's a time and place for, your fast food and your treats and everything else. But if you're using that as your staple
Yeah.
every single night, right? Like, and I know that it absolutely feels like you are eating nothing, right? For
Mhm.
sure. It probably does because you are starving when you get it, and then
Mhm.
you are starving after you eat it.
Yeah,
But it is not a little amount of food, right? Like
yeah,
in terms of when you count up the calories, you have to be more
yeah,
mindful of those things, right? So I think
yeah.
sometimes perception wise, that throws you off, right? You think like, I just had one meal and I was so hungry all day, and I went to bed starving. So
Mhm.
why aren't I losing weight? You got to look at the quality of your food, right? And I don't mean you have to eat broccoli and boiled chicken all the time, right? That's not it at all, right? You just got to look at how that food is comprised.
Or even, because you're so hungry, yeah, like, start snacking. You
Yes, you
start
start the
snack
nibbles.
the
A hundred.
nibbles, and, one of our members in our program, she calls them BLTs, bites, licks, and tastes. And
Yes.
so right? And
It
she was
doesn't count. You
really,
just lick the back of the spoon, right?
yeah, but
You
it's
pour
still
up the
there's
peanut
still
butter and lick
calories
it.
in that. Yeah.
100%. A
And
hundred.
she's an ex BLT, and you know it would add up. It would literally add up because grab a handful of nuts here, a handful
Oh,
of M&Ms
especially the nuts.
here,
Oh, no.
right? Like a lick of this here, a bite of that here, and you're like, "Oh, I'm not eating bad." But then when you actually add up all those bites, licks, and tastes, it does add up to quite a bit of calories because most
Yeah,
of the time too, because you're it's not mindful, you are unaware of how much it actually all adds up to,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
And
And
so
not to mention the fact that all those bites, clicks, and tastes are probably not gonna be a lot of protein,
yeah,
right?
oh, 0,
Right? Like
like
exactly.
100%
It's
of the
gonna
time.
be, mostly probably fats and some
Yeah,
carbs, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
again, kind of throwing it all over the place, right?
yeah,
And the fats are worth more calories than your carbs and proteins. So yeah, it's gonna add up very quickly, right?
yes. So this coming Saturday, we actually hosted our 4-day Fit Beyond 40 workshop last week.
Yeah.
But we wanted to kind of put together a 3-hour summit, which basically summarizes everything that we taught within the 4 days. Because we know that some of the ladies couldn't make it for various reasons. Whether it be family emergencies or work deadlines. And so, what we're doing is we're comprising all 4 days, and we're going to create a 3-hour, jam packed full summit. And a portion of it is I'll be teaching the 5 calorie free things that cause weight gain over 40. And here's the thing, when I think about all the things that are on that list, we could get away with it in our 20s,
Yeah.
but
Totally.
not now. And so if just this alone has kind of like opened your eyes and be like, "Oh, wait a minute. I'm guilty of that." And yeah, I do a little bit of that, and I definitely do that. Well, Coach Janae and I, we want to invite you to register for this free summit.
Mhm.
Um, Again, 5 calorie free things that cause weight gain over 40. And we kind of do like a poll with our ladies, and we ask them how long, and Coach Janae, you actually alluded to this when you were sharing what you wish you knew. We poll our ladies all the time, and we ask like how long until you, like when you start from a program to the time you quit.
Mhm.
And the consensus is 2 weeks, right? The consensus is 2 weeks. And that's interesting because I'm thinking, okay, honey, you have what, 30 to 50, maybe 60 plus pounds to lose, and you're thinking you're going to lose it in 2 weeks.
I know.
It took you like, 20 years to get to where you're at,
Yeah.
you know, but the opener of what I'm going to teach is the number one secret to stop quitting when you don't see results fast enough,
Yeah.
right? Because it's so, I mean, I get it. It is very easy to feel discouraged when you're thinking you're following the program and you step on the scale and you're like all excited because you've been behaving for the past two
Yeah.
weeks. And then you
Starving every day and
right? And then
yeah.
you step on the scale and it hasn't budged.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, this doesn't work.
Yeah. Exactly.
And on to the next thing. But
Yeah.
so we're going to be sharing the number one secret to stop doing that.
Mhm.
And it's going to blow you away because it's something that you can literally apply like tomorrow,
Yeah, exactly. You
right?
take that home and start utilizing it right away.
Absolutely. And one of our participants from the 4-day workshop, she actually did. And yeah, she started implementing it right away and saw a big difference. And I think I actually shared with you,
Mm.
she was very much tempted to go through the McDonald's drive-through.
Yeah.
And instead, she drove past the drive-through because of what she learned, the secret to not quit. And she was like, "You'd be so proud of me because I had cereal and sausage instead." And I'm like, "Well, I am proud of you, but there could have been, there was still kind of like high sugar and still high fat, but at least it's not McDonald's, right?" But all of
Exactly.
it to
Small
say,
steps.
small baby steps. And she drove past the drive-through. At
Yeah.
least she didn't actually go through it. So that was a win.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'll also be sharing the 6 puzzle pieces. The only 6 puzzle pieces you need to create a sustainable lifestyle. And I think the key word is sustainable,
Mm, mhm,
right? I
mhm.
mean, like when you think back, Coach Shanae, about all the diets and all the things that you were doing, was any of it sustainable?
Oh, absolutely not. Like none of it. I could like there, but let me tell you, all of those random, diets or fitness plans, I would start them not with the intention that I would do them for the rest of my life. My mindset at the time was always, I just need to, like go hardcore or go extreme just to lose that first like maybe 10, 15
Now,
pounds. And then like I'll just go back to normal and everything will be fine. Right. But I don't like thinking about that now. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Right. But that's what my mindset was. And I've
yes,
spoken to enough women that have said and shared that that's exactly what they think too. I just need to lose like 10 pounds. That first 10 pounds, I'll go all in. I'll be super extreme, right? And of course, they may even see some success, right? And see
right.
those 10 pounds because they are super extreme and they're on an 800-calorie diet or something silly,
Yeah,
right? And then you can't sustain that, obviously. And then of course they completely fall off, right? Because all it takes is one dinner event, one birthday, and then
or just
everything just
eating normally.
yes, but
Like
that's just it.
there,
Like all these little daily events and stuff is normal. That's going to be
yeah,
part of your normal life. So how are you going to, survive through all of that, right? Because expect it's going to come. People are going to have birthdays, right? And you're going to expect to go out. And what if you want to go to the movies, or what if you want to, right? So
exactly.
the normal part of it would just like derail, and of course like that weight would come back, or any progress that you made would come right back, right? So that normal part, that's the part that we're trying to actually fix. What we're doing, or what got us into the situation that we're in. So I don't actually want to go back to that state. I want to be better than that state, right? And I think that mindset shift needed to happen. Understanding that my normal was not like, that's not sustainable either, because that's moving me in the opposite direction. But the
Right.
most extreme diets and fitness plans are not going to be the normal thing either. I
Yes.
needed to find what works in my lifestyle that I will be able to maintain, and
Yes.
I'll be happy and comfortable in continuing that on, right?
Yes. And really great point, because, when you think about, like, as you were sharing like, oh, I'll follow this diet and then I'll go back to normal. So back to normal meaning, oh, grabbing that high carb, muffin at Starbucks with my drink. Oh, getting, combo one at the movie theater, big giant popcorn to myself and a big jumbo, soft drink. And then, yeah, exactly. And then having, pizza night, but they all add up. And there's nothing wrong with those things, but rather what we're going to share at the summit is, okay, well, how am I able to live my normal life in a healthier manner,
Yes.
so
Exactly.
that, I learn how to make better choices.
Yes.
Right. And so these 6 puzzle pieces is literally the missing pieces as to why, you know, every single time you have, tried a diet, joined a gym, whatever, why
Mhm.
you've fallen off, because guaranteed at least 2 or 3 of those pieces are missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so if you want to know exactly what is missing, and once again, you'd be like, oh, that's why that's why the weight keeps coming back. So if
Yeah.
you want to have like these literal, kind of breakthroughs and kind of mic drop moments, and make you realize, wow, I'm doing everything backwards, or all wrong, and
Yeah.
you want to learn how to do it right. Well, then I've added the link in the show notes down below. Go ahead and click the link. It's free. And
Mhm.
so it's going to be in a private Zoom. So we're going to be sharing all of these things. If they've resonated with you, we really encourage you to register, so that instead of dedicating 4 days, you can stick us in your earbuds. I know it's a Saturday morning. Stick us in your earbuds while you're doing the laundry, while you're, vacuuming and doing all the things, and just listen in, because I'm telling you, and then go for your walk, have
Yeah.
us in your ear, in your ears, because you're gonna learn a lot of eye-opening, realizations as to why you have
Yeah.
been stuck all these years.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, yeah. So, Coach Janae, I think I'm excited. I'm excited for some of the ladies having some major breakthroughs this Saturday. We really look forward to meeting you guys. So, click on the link in the show notes below, and we'll see you there. And then I think perhaps next week we could talk about, what did we talk about? We were
Yeah, we just had something.
This is what happens when you're over 40. Wait, we said we said something earlier.
Instantly forgot. Oh, motivation. How to stay
Yes.
motivated, right? Yeah.
How to stay motivated. And
I looked at my wings and it triggered.
see, you're not just a pretty face. And actually, here's the caveat. Motivation is garbage.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is.
So I think that is literally uh going to be our
That's a
topic.
good teaser. That's a good teaser too. What do
Yeah.
you mean motivation is garbage?
Yeah.
You just said we need to be motivated.
How to stay motivated, dot, dot, dot.
Yeah.
Motivation is garbage, right?
Yeah.
So come join us next week. Watch out for the live. We're kind of just playing around with different times. And actually we're pretty brand new to YouTube and going live. So we're just figuring out the things right now. But for those of you that watch the replay again, communicate with us. We want this to be more of a dialogue than anything. And we want to make sure that we cover topics that are going to serve you. So Coach Janae, this was a good one. I like this one.
I love it.
This was great. And, we look forward to seeing all you ladies on Saturday. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everybody.